Hello and welcome. Today we are exploring the connection between epic health, or lack thereof, and business success with award-winning PhD scholar and health expert 𝗵𝗶𝘁𝗁. Your health is your wealth, my friends, and it's also key to being more productive, getting more done, and ultimately being more successful. For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes or visit betterinbusiness.global. You've tuned into Better in Business with Jeannie. As an award-winning strategic bookkeeper and business veteran, I am dedicated to helping entrepreneurs learn, grow, and prosper. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules, play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar one for the success of any business is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping. If your books are not right up to date, tune into episode 1, please. You can also get in touch with me if you'd like some help. Our guest today is 𝗵𝗶𝘁𝗁. 𝗵𝗶 is co-founder of an award-winning health practice, Chris and Filly Functional Medicine. She is an accredited clinical nutritionalist and practices functional medicine. She is also a PhD scholar, award-winning writer, and regularly featured in the media such as 9.com.au, Forbes, and Body and Soul. 𝗵𝗶 and her hubby Chris have helped literally thousands of busy, burnt-out clients, which is why her practice is best known for ending body burnout for good by optimizing energy, stabilizing mood, and balancing gut health, and also why they have won a string of prestigious awards too. 𝗵𝗶's own passion for helping parents, especially mums, have more energy, productivity, and connection came from her own personal experience of mummy burnout after having babies and juggling the demands of business, family, and her failing health. Welcome, 𝗵𝗶.
Hello, Jeannie. How are you going?
I'm good. Because this is a subject very close to my heart, as we were talking about before we pressed record. I could run through the hills singing about this one. And it's also something that I think so many business owners go, yeah, I'll get to that later. It's like priority number 2. And I'm telling you right now, no punches pulled. This needs to be priority number 1. It is my top priority in my life. Because I know that when I'm the best of myself, physically, mentally, and spiritually, I'm the best for everyone and everything. So today you are going to you say it from experience, right? And you're going to talk to us about, in your own words, it's the connection between epic health or lack thereof and how it affects business owners' productivity, creativity, and ability to thrive in business. So I know you've learned from experience. I love your story, even if it's briefly. That would be amazing.
Yeah, awesome. So I probably have to go back to maybe like in my 20s to start the story, and I'll do a fast track version. So I wasn't in business back then. I was actually just a studyaholic. I ended up doing a PhD for no other reason than just doing a PhD.
But,
I mean, the real reason was that I just wanted to achieve and put things out there and get good grades. And so that's kind of where it started for me. But it was all from an energy of needing to prove my worth, go, doing all the things. And then I had children, and before kids, actually health was fine in terms of like my body. Like I still could do things. I could write, I could think, my creativity was through the roof, all that sort of stuff. But then when I had children, it was kind of like the last straw on the camel's back. And it's pretty intense having kids. So like very physically demanding for your body, had quite a traumatic birth, and lots of complications afterwards, including a bunch of antibiotics for about 3 months, addressing like chronic UTIs. And so from then on, it was almost like my body just, one, was assaulted with like a lot of antibiotics, ruining my gut health, sleepless nights because, you know, little baby not sleeping at nighttime. And then also just like, who am I? I was this person that could do all this stuff, and now I'm like bedridden because I'm so sick and I can't even look after my child. And so anyway, what I found was, and then during this time too, my husband and I, so my husband also had a business, and I was kind of like working his support person in his business. So I kind of put on hold the university. I was working at university as well, kind of just focused on the baby and also his business. But I found that month by month, just new symptoms started popping up: anxiety, depression, gut issues, hormonal issues, insomnia. Probably the biggest thing though, so like, and chronic pain, like to the point where there were some days I just had to lie down all day in bed because my back was in such agony that I couldn't walk or pick up my child.
Oh, so it's your back, yeah.
Yeah. And probably the biggest thing though was the anxiety, especially after I had my second baby. So this was going on for many years, still trying to push it too. Like it kind of wasn't, my body was screaming at me, but I'm like, no, I still have to do this and this and this and this and this and this because this is how I feel good about myself in terms of overachieving. And then, the anxiety was a big one because like it pretty much ruined or almost ruined our marriage. I became the dragon mom. I literally, like my brain was so on like a state of fight or flight that I couldn't concentrate anymore. Like I literally couldn't even read a book. So, you know, then try and like run a business as well. It's like, that's not going to happen. And then eventually, like it got to a point where I felt like an 80-year-old and I'm like, I've got to fix this. I've got to work out what's going on. Went to the doctors, said, you know, what the doctors say a lot, your bloods are normal. It's just part of being a parent and like a busy person. It's like, no, actually. And so then I read an amazing book called Deep Nutrition, and that just like opened my eyes. It's like, you can actually eat healthy, real food and heal your body. What?
We're just like now, about that.
Now most people know that, and maybe you do know that, but you're not eating that way. But it was just going into like, this causes cancer and this will cause heart disease and this will cause you to die. And it kind of like feared me into eating healthy, really. But then it was a journey. So over the next course of about 3 years, I changed the way that I was eating. Also looking at toxins. So like in terms of my health breaking down, it wasn't just overworking, having children. It was literally, and we chatted about this earlier, Jeannie, just all the different stresses that assault your body. So a big one for me too was toxins. I was developing chemical sensitivities where I was having weird reactions to like smelly candles and stuff like that. So just clearing my home of toxins, working on, I was an over exerciser. So literally probably that caused the back pain, but it was almost so like I had to get bedridden for my body to say no more, stop. So then trying to work out movement styles that worked for me. And then eventually I got into functional medicine which is now what our practice is built on, doing special lab tests that look at your gut and your brain and your neurotransmitters, your hormones, your detox pathways. And that was like a really pivotal shift in my health because it now went into deep healing and actually got to the root of what had broken down in my body. There's chapter 2, but I don't know if we'll go into that.
So I relate to everything you just said. I've been there, you know, exactly the same thing. For me, it was head pain rather than back pain, and I'm a culprit for over-exercising as well. And I guess we can, you know, some of us, and you know, don't get enough exercise, but there is some of us who push it too far. But business owners are more often than not, type A people. Yeah, so they are just people that naturally, like you said at the beginning, I want to achieve, I'm go, go, go. I can't sit still for 5 seconds. You want goals, you want all of these things. The thing that I think of, and it's an old saying, is around that your health is your wealth. So I don't, I think it should, hopefully it is clear to the listeners that it doesn't matter if you have 1 million or 2 million or 10 million or 100 million in the bank. If you don't have a healthy body, mind, and spirit, or if those around you are suffering, you know, your health is your wealth. I remember I used to say when my husband would get stressed out, I'd say, wait, Are the kids well? Yes. Are we well? Yes. Is there a roof
Mm-hmm.
over our heads? And is there food in our belly? Right?
Yes.
Let's all take a breath. And I just, your health is well. So if you're still, I just feel like if you're still listening and thinking, but I just need to go and make some more sales, or I just need to go and do this, or I just need to go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you get your health right, a lot of other things will fall into place.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I would love to ask you, I mean, I think about this stuff all the time. I've got a passion project coming called the Healthy Bookkeeper. I'm a massive advocate for it. But Philly, where should people start? Like if I'm listening and going, well, I'm not fully convinced, but this stuff sounds like it might be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Where would they start? What should they know? Where should they go?
Yeah, well, I would say like the first place to start is within you, like listen to your body. So it's interesting what you said, Jeannie. We work with a lot of business owners. I love testing business owners' brains because usually dopamine is really burnt out. And it's like a neurotransmitter that like it's just on all the time when you're thinking, problem solving, doing things. But if you're someone, okay, so you may be in two camps. You might be like, yeah, my body's completely broken down and I'm feeling it and I'm feeling crap. Just like, help me. I'll talk about those people in a seckie. The other people are people who just suppress how they feel, like physically and emotionally. And so I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, well, I don't have any symptoms. And I'm like, yet their blood test results and their lab test results showed that their body was just like really in a state of burnout and breakdown. And so then I started asking really nuanced questions too, like, okay, so you say you're 9 out of 10 energy. Well, do you feel like you need to nap during the day? And he's like, yeah, I love a good nap. I'm like, what time? He's like, yeah, usually after lunch or 3 p.m. I'm like, okay, that's like the afternoon crash. Or it's like, how many times do you snooze your alarm clock when you wake up? It's like, yeah, I really struggle to get out of bed. So if you're someone who's just kind of like shut off from how your body feels and you're maybe even repressing it because you don't want to acknowledge that that's an issue so you can push on, just like step back and become in tune with your body. And, you know, you don't want to like, increase the pain. If there's little subtle pain points that you're pushing down because you don't want to address them, but now you're thinking, maybe this is important, like listen into them and lean into them because it's going to then tell you what to do next.
So they normalize this.
Yeah, well, it's also like a badge of honor. Like how many people say to you, Jeannie, oh, how have you been? You been busy? It's like, busy is like it's a medal to put on, isn't it? But in order to be busy and smile your way through that, like there's kind of, I mean, busy can be good. There's always like, it's good when it's balanced. But a lot of people will work hard, do the things, make the money, and forget about their body. And, you know, it's just almost like that's something I can fix up later, which is interesting though. I was just going to say, which is interesting though, because we've got a range of people that we work with, and some people are kind of your startups or people in that sort of like, mid-range of business where it's still stressful, like in terms of money and making profit. But then we also get people who are millionaires, multimillionaires, who are still flogging their body because they don't feel like they have enough. And then it's kind of like there's no better time than now to address your health, is like the moral of that story. Because if you're already running your body down to the ground because you feel like you have to do more, be more, make more, that's a pattern that you're going to continue running for the rest of your life, even if you're a billionaire.
Yeah. And look, a lot of us in business are on the other side of 40.
Yeah.
The other side of, whatever. And sometimes I talk to people about this stuff and, oh gosh, Jeannie, she goes on about this and everything, and it's not that big a deal. But it's life and death. And I know that it might, and you might, that's just, it's not. Well, just ask yourself, has anyone close to you passed because they didn't take care of themselves? Mm-hmm. Because, 2 years ago, my sister passed suddenly. And, I was saying to her and I was saying to people around me, I'm worried about my sister. I don't think her little body can survive the way she's treating herself, right? And mentally, physically, spiritually, she wasn't taking care of herself. And for me, I'm a strategic bookkeeper, so I'm a numbers and data girl. For me, it was like the data doesn't add up. Mm-hmm. She's not taking care of herself. But when she passed, everybody acted like it was a real shock.
Yeah.
And by my age, I'm 50 and fabulous. You know, we all know quite a few people who have been taken from us, and it suddenly. So even though this might feel like I can fix it tomorrow, if you're dealing with, I mean, if I can't get up in the morning, if I start napping in the day, these are red alerts. These are, Jeannie, something's wrong, right? And I stop, and I will take time off work. I will shut things down to stop and correct my health. I wasn't always like that, right? I've been, you know, close to the brink myself and had to make a decision to get well. But I think this stuff is life and death. But maybe if listeners are wondering, well then, okay, I can't get up in the morning, and I do want a lunchtime nap. And the truth is, I pop Nurofen and Panadol a couple of times a day. Been there, absolutely been there. I now have leaky gut from it, loving it. What can you do? I think you have got tools. We haven't talked about this in ages, but have you got something they can do online so that you can help them become aware of these things?
Yeah, we have a good score up actually, especially if you're like, oh, like I think I have some signs, but I'm not really sure. And I'm also not really sure where my weak links are. So we built a scorecard or a quiz. It's called the Ending Body Burnout Assessment. And it's based on, it's like broken into 4 categories. You answer a bunch of questions, and then the report looks at 4 different categories. Right. So it's looking at the state of your body symptoms. So like how burnt out are you, and how much is that actually showing up in your body? Yep. And sometimes again, like some people don't even realize that not pooing for 3 days is abnormal. It's like, that's abnormal, people. If you're not pooing every day, there's something wrong.
You're headed for surgery to have part of your gut removed. Good times, diverticulitis and the rest of it.
Yeah, wow. And then the other 3 categories look into body, mind, and environment. And so I'll go over these 2 because these are kind of things that you can also even start becoming aware of and even implementing in your life now. So body is more around like how are you actually restoring, how are you caring for your body? So what sort of food are you putting into your body? How much water are you drinking? Are you moving? Are you exercising? Are you doing too much? And also looking at sleep is probably something that busy business owners put on the end of the to-do list. It's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. Oh, I just got to finish this deadline. I got to do this. And it's like midnight. It's like, crap. And then like, especially when you're exposed to screens, it just affects your melatonin, which is your sleepy hormone. So then by the time you go to bed, you're probably not able to fall asleep or get a restful sleep because all your hormones are whacked. So I would say like, if anyone just like wants to start doing something helpful for their health, just like sleep. I don't know. For me, sleep is number 1. Because if I don't sleep, I literally can't work or function very well the next day. I will only do like your easy tasks. It's like any sort of creative projects, any team meetings are like off limits if I haven't slept.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So that's body. Then it looks into the environment. So again, I talked about toxins, and it's not just chemicals in skincare, cleaning products, petrol fumes, but it's also things like is it your house moldy? That's another stressor for the body.
Oh, yes, we're dealing with a bit of that. At the moment. Yeah.
And 1 out of 4 people in the Western population have a gene where you're actually really susceptible to mold, and it can literally cause all sorts of weird symptoms.
Really?
And then EMFs is another one too, like in the environment side of things. So that's all your electronics, which are great. Like we're using technology at the moment to connect and do these podcasts. But if you're exposed to it, as most business owners are, you know, 24/7 sometimes, it's like there's different measures you can put in place to protect yourself from dirty electricity that stresses out your hormones basically and your neurotransmitters. And the third piece, which I just adore and is so important in terms of like health, is your mind. So a lot of the times, like if we get a client and we've done a bunch of lab tests and it's like, you've got leaky gut, like you mentioned, or parasites, or your liver's not detoxifying toxins properly, or you have low testosterone, our big question is always why? Why did that happen? And if you ask why enough, it usually comes back to like all the stuff I was talking about, but they're kind of like surface level root causes. The deepest root cause is often about how you think and feel about yourself. stop.
Yeah,
Because then
absolutely.
that creates behavioral patterns, it creates habits, and then a lifestyle, and then health, usually your health issues show up when things are dysfunctional.
Yeah, and I think so many of us take health for granted, as in health should be something that just comes, without any effort. So, but it doesn't fall ass first out of the sky.
No.
Right? Your mental, spiritual, or physical health requires work. So I sometimes say, for example, I'm a really confident person, and people will always make the assumption that I was born confident and I've always had it and I've never worked on it. It is just like anything else. You work on it every day.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to, so there is score card, like the diagnostics, which is great because as a business owner, sometimes, your head is full and you're like, I just need somebody else to assess this for. So I'm going to put that in the show notes and you can jump on. And that way, like I remember once I did a quiz at a doctor's office, and I thought it was a joke because I thought these questions don't, I don't understand what these questions are. I mean, isn't it obvious what the answers are? And at the end, he was like, wow, you are a mess, right? This is years ago.
You're like, damn.
And I think, but I struggled to see it. It was like, I know something's wrong, which is why I'm here, because I'm grumpy with the children, like we were talking about the dragon mum. I've gone from fun mum to dragon mum. So there is a sign here things are wrong. But these diagnostic tools can really help to give you the clarity that you can't get yourself, right? Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah.
Then I was thinking, so for business owners, I feel like the important thing to know too, and I'd love to know what you think of this, is the more you neglect your health, the harder you're probably going to have to work because you're not going to be working smart.
Yeah, the harder you're going to have to work. Did you say in terms of in business?
Yeah, because I feel like when I'm at my best, I actually work smarter rather than hard.
It is so true. And like health, again, as you keep talking about health, like physical, mental, and spiritual. And
spiritual,
all those three are all like connected and you're in flow. Like today was a great example. I didn't have a lot of work to do. Not because I have so here's the old Filly was like would fill every second of her day with work. New Filly is like work smarter, not harder. So today I could, like I had a lovely coaching call with one of my coaches and basically I kind of just like bummed around the house and went for this nice long walk with my dog through the bush. I've had like a great work day. Like
so, and this this is not exclusive to us. So one of my mentors is a 7-figure entrepreneur. He's an absolute world champion. And he lives like this. He doesn't actually work very much. And he actually said to me that earlier, some time ago with the mentors that he has, they imparted this on him, that you didn't need to work so hard. You needed to work smart. And he does spend time on his mental, spiritual, and physical health. And he said it is a mindset, right? If you believe that the only way to get a result is to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week and that you should attend to your health after all of that, then you cannot never exceed your own expectations. If you believe like Filly and I do, that actually a part of my work, right, is to ensure that I am okay. For example, with my lunch breaks, I will not do anything but eat food. I do not anymore digest food while looking at a screen or anything else.
Awesome.
I mindfully, and I know someone argued, but I'm busy. Like, I just watched you eat. It took you 5 minutes to inhale that food. I'm telling you right now, if 5 minutes is the difference between success and failure, you've got bigger problems.
Yeah. And it's interesting to like, just, I guess, like to give a little bit of concreteness around that. Like, let's just say you huff food down. So I'm someone who has struggled with heartburn for a really long time. On top of it now, it will flare up as a little signal to me now, though, in terms of like, something's not right, but generally pretty good. But it's like if you think about swallowing food in 5 minutes while on the computer, your gut then has to, like even your gut has to work harder. Like your insides have to work harder when you're living, doing all the things without like while neglecting yourself. And so then like for some people literally like, and I'm sure there are people who would be listening to this, bloating, diarrhea, heartburn, constipation, that affects work. Like we have clients who are too scared to travel now, like entrepreneurial people who used to be fine, but now they're like, I have to make sure that there's a toilet at every place I go. And like that is like paralyzing them. And then if you think about other things like brain fog or fatigue, if you feel like that when you're trying to work, you're only working at 10% anyway. Like it's just like it's difficult.
Yeah. Yes. This is what I mean. So if if you've got all these symptoms going on and you are listening now going, what? Am I not meant to have these?
Yeah.
Is it not okay to live on 2 handfuls of painkillers and
Caffeine.
be, 7 cups
drinks.
of coffee? And I get it. I've done the bucket of coffee for breakfast on occasion. But if you're living like this all the time, you are working at 10% of your capacity. And that's what this is about. In terms of getting your health right to do better in business and in life, you will absolutely do it. And I heard a really cool thing by someone on a podcast once, and she said, write your top 3 priorities down, because there's the power of, writing things down, heaps of studies around that, right? So I wrote, okay, number 1 is my health, mental, physical, spiritual. Number 2 is my son, right? Because he's a little boy. I have to take care of him. And he can't take care of himself. But it would have been previously number 1, my family. Right.
Yeah.
And because it would be like, don't I have to put them first? And I did do that years ago, and I ended up almost in the grave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Eventually I went, I might change something or die. Right.
Yeah.
And so now my little boy's Asperger's is really quirky, and I love that we share values, because now if you said to him, what are mum's top 3 priorities? He would say, first, my mama is health.
Aww.
And then me, because if she's dead, she can't take care of me. It's morbid. But do you know what? Sometimes we need a bit of a knock in the face.
Yeah.
Do you know, like he says it, that's in his own words. So he's like, if my mum is the best of herself mentally, spiritually, and physically, she can be there for me too. And then after that, I call it my empire building, because my work is just purpose, right? I love it. And so I really enjoy it. And that way too, whenever someone says, so let's say a client's like, Jeannie, I need you to do this, and it's not going to serve my priorities, then it's easier to have boundaries. And or let's say I remember some time ago, someone that I didn't know that well actually asked me to be there for them and support them. And I was actually able to say, I would love to, but my plate is actually full. Is there somebody else in your network that could be there for you? The old Jeannie never would have done that.
Yeah.
She just would have said, because I'm not up there. I come last.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're able to write down those priorities, and even if it's not first, try it. Just write health at the top.
Yeah. And I think
see what happens.
It's so cool too, because your child then models that, so that like it's going to impact generations. And then even like the people you're working with too, it's like, hey, I'm a business coach, but health should be number 1. It's like just the impact that it then has. And then if you're listening to this and you're like, all right, I'm going to try this out, or I already believe this, but I'm not really living out my health truth, then it's like, it's not a selfish thing. It's like, it's going to increase your capacity to be able to do what you want to do, but it's going to have this beautiful effect on everyone else that you connect with, because you can show up better, like a bigger and better version for them.
I believe when you have your health on point, like my health is, I still think I'm not optimal. I'm gut healing. But when you have a good amount of energy, when your body is functioning right, when your mind is good, you've embraced shame and vulnerability, but you are, you're a confident, secure, self-assured person. When you've got things in your life that feed your soul, right? That's what I call about spiritual. It doesn't matter how, my Latin dancing is great for me physically, but really it's more about feeding my mind and my spirit, When you get up and you feel this way in the day, nothing compares. Nothing in the world compares. Money will not keep you warm at night. And another thing we do in my business, which I love, is I'm a strategic bookkeeper, so I'm all about the numbers, and profit and cash is oxygen for a business. So that comes first, right? And if it's not there, I kick my clients' bums into getting the profit and cash.
Mm-hmm.
But once we do that, I actually do prosperity scoring. So I'm like, at the beginning, prosperity is time, health, freedom, like these things. So we can score the business on profit and cash, but what about once that's there, isn't it about prosperity?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you got all this money? Now what are you going to do with it? I can't do anything because I'm like sick in bed.
Yeah, exactly. And I've gone about this for days. So if we wrap this up with steps people could take, so they can do use your diagnostic tool, which, like I said, I've been there and I've been totally not self-aware, and it was super helpful to put myself in the hands of a professional. And like you, when I was really, really, really sick, the doctor said your bloods are normal.
Yeah, so also if you've been to the doctor, then there is another way. It's called functional medicine.
Yeah, I see the doctor as like a last resort these days. It's hilarious. And they're exactly functional medicine. So no, when I was really sick, the same thing happened. But so they can use your diagnostics. How about getting in touch with you?
Yeah, probably the easiest way is to jump on our website. So www.𝐷𝐉𝐶𝐂𝐿.fm. You might have to put that in the show notes too for the spelling.
And you've got a podcast, haven't you?
We don't yet, but we do a lot of socials. We have a very active blog, which has vlog videos on our website. So we have a lot of, just other heaps of free resources. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how many blogs are on there now. But we also have mini courses, webinars on different topics around burnout. You can jump on our website and you'll go down a rabbit hole, or there's also a contact button as well if you just want to get in touch.
And Philly does amazing stuff around gut health. And for me, 2 years ago, I accidentally found out that my gut was black and twisted.
Ooh.
Surprise, I wasn't feeling great.
Yeah.
And today it's clear, and that's all functional medicine. Again, the doctor was like, you're fine. And if if you're not regular, so to speak, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And if you get to 50 and that's happening, you do end up one of the people in hospital getting part of their bowel cut out. It's so common, right?
Oh, it's insane. So sad.
And the other thing I want to encourage is it's something that prompted me to take care of my health, and I think you too. So if you feel like you can't do it just for yourself, because if you're really a super selfless, I really can't put myself first, what about doing it for other people around you? Yeah. So
yeah, but nah.
Well, do it for yourself, but it's the motivation. Yeah, So one of my motivations years ago was just that I was snapping at my beautiful twins, my stepkids, and it was like, they don't deserve that. Why have I become a Stepford wife that snaps at my children all the time?
Okay. Good point. Actually, it was the reason why I said, but nah. So maybe it's the more around how you frame your health. So I'm someone who is and has been for a very long time, even before kids, I'm number one. Even though it showed up in dysfunctional ways as well. I had to kind of tame and work that out. But for people who are very much I don't want to spend money on myself, I don't want to spend time on myself, I've got my kids or my clients or whatever to look after, then it's reframing. It's if your cup is empty, you have nothing to pour. So if you're a mom, I think women especially, it's kind of if you're snapping at your kids, or they're starting to develop health issues or whatever that looks like, or you just don't have energy to spend time with your family, it's sort of I'm going to do this for them. So it's reframing.
Yeah, if that gets you motivated, because that's what got me across the line. But then my journey took me to putting myself first, and it was the most incredible lesson that I hope I'll never forget. And I say to, whenever I meet people who say, I don't put myself first, and I say, well, guess what? Then you don't put anyone first.
Yeah. Because another reframe.
If you are not taking care of yourself first, you are not your best friend anyway. And I can tell you right now, if you ask your friends and family, do you feel like you come first? Because I'm putting you first. I bet they'll say no.
Yeah. And then also too, like the ripple effect as well. So if people are watching you, like especially if you have kids, oh, mum says to look after yourself, but she's not looking after herself. Well, I guess like you don't look after yourself then. So yeah, it's a cool,
lead by
reframe.
example.
Yeah.
It's monkey with kids. It is monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
We cannot tell them to do something. And my little boy pulls me up on it, and I love it. So we've got a thing, don't try and talk to me from another room. Don't yell at me. And I do it all the time. He's up down and said, Mum, you say this, but then you yell at me from another room.
Yeah.
Reason. And we kind of talked it through, but I would hope to never be the do as I say and not as I do, Mum, because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Our kids pull us up on that politely, respectfully. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Like, so do I.
Be my reflection, child.
Yeah, I love it. And we have jokes about if, because we're big on cutting out sugar, and we do have some nice sugar-free treats at home. But yeah, he has jokes about if I see an ice cream in your hand, I'll smack it out of your hand, Mum.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And and just he learns from my healthy habits, and it doesn't take 2 seconds, right? But eventually it kicks in.
Yeah. So good. So good.
Well, Philly, it was amazing having you. I'd love to have you on again, and also your amazing hubby Chris. You're quite the team.
Yeah, we could do a duo next time.
Yeah, I love you two together in a room is amazing. So yeah, if you just want to look at what your diagnostic, as we said, jump on and do the diagnostic tool. And if you want to explore working with Philly a bit more, just get in touch with her and have a chat to her. The point is that, take action, put one foot in front of the other in the direction of the success that you want, and you're sure to get there, right?
Yeah.
So, Philly, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. It was great chatting.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes. If you'd like to know how I can help you do better in business, you know where to find me, betterinbusiness.global. See you in the next episode.